Hello, Assalamu alaikum student. Welcome to my course. This course, which is I designed for students and any person who are interested in controller or microcontroller, programming of microcontrollers, etc. In this course, I will talk about the programming of big microcontroller and different communication protocols for big microcontroller or any other controller. These protocols are standard and same for all controller. You have bus controller to controller varies its programming, which is no difficult, very easy. In this course, I will talk about programming of big microcontrollers basics and different communication protocols, and I will simulate all communication protocols on the broadcast software, and I will program the protocols programming in the MPLab software. The purpose of designing this course is that actually I am the student of engineering and I face different problems regarding to the softwares, programmings, etc. So, so I designed this course for students and any person who are interested in controllers programming. This course is very useful and helpful for that person. So let's start. So first of all, if you have to communicate one device to other device, you have two different communication protocols which are serial and parallel. In serial protocols, yeah, in serial communication interfaces, what data transfer one bit at a time, and serial communication may be synchronous or asynchronous or maybe full duplex and half duplex. Different serial communication interfaces example are I2C, SPI, I2 S USB, different programming communication protocols. In half duplex, the transmission and reception uh, channels are independent. They depend on each other. At one time, you may have to transmit the data or receive the data, but in full duplex, you have transmit and receive the data at a time. You have both your both channels are independent. In synchronous communication interfaces, you may have required a clock pulse. If you have a clock pulse, then you can receive or transmit the data. But in asynchronous communication interfaces, you may have not required the clock pulse. So I will start from I2C communication protocol, which is very basic and very helpful. You if you have used different communication, दूसरे sensor etc. actuators, you have you see that you have required the I2C communication for interfaces, the sensor with the controller. So I2C is the inter-integrated circuit communication. This is developed for the Philips I2C communication interface is the synchronized communication, which this is the synchronous communication. This is the half duplex, and I2C communication is the multi-master. This means more than one master can take control of the bus. I will see if you will then further away. I will see about the how it is the multi-master, how different master can take control of the bus. If you have devices use the device of 7-bit address, then you can interface 127 devices with this bus. And if you have use the 10-bit devices, you can connect the 123 devices with this. In I2C communication protocols, you require only two wires, which is the SCL and SDA. SCL is for the localized and SDA for data line. You have required only these two words, and if you use 7-bit address, then you can interface 127 devices with these two words, or if you use 10-bit address, then you can interface 1023 devices with these two words, and each device has a unique address. And if devices are different logic level can interface this bus. In this example, you see that I have my controller A and microcontroller B. These two are the master, and I have these four slaves. Slave 1 is the keypad, slave 2 the LCD, slave 3 the accelerometer, and slave 4 is the laser range finder. And these four slaves can interface these two wires and two master are. It means I have interface these six devices with these two wires. These are some basic advantages of I2C communication protocol. Indeed, advantages, you see the functional block on the diagram correspond with the actual IC design. Proceed rapidly from block diagram to final schematic. No need to design interface because the I2C bus interface is already integrated on the chip. Integrated addressing and data transfer protocols allow systems to be completely software defined. The same IC types can often be used in many applications. Design time reduces on designer quickly become familiar with the frequently used functional block represented by the I2C bus. Compatible ICs. ICs can be added or removed from a system without affecting any other circuits on the bus. Fault diagnosis and debugging are simple. Malfunction can be immediately traced. Software development time can be reduced by assembling a library of reviewable software modules. These are some basic advantages of the I2C which I have defined you previously. If you have communicate one device to two other devices, some terminologies are used which are basically you have to know about if you have to run one device. So first terminology is master, a device which initiate the data transfer. Master is the device which start the data transfer. It can generate the synchronization clock. It can terminate the data transfer. Or master are mostly microcontroller. Or is in some other application, master are the eh, control panels, etc. So second device is the slave. What is slave? A the device that is being addressed by the master. A slave cannot generate the clock but can pass the generation of clock if it is busy. Slave cannot directly generate the clock but it can pass the clock while if it is busy. Transmitter, the device that is sending the data on the data line, it can be master or the slave. Receiver, the device that is receiving the data on the bus. It can be master or the slave. Multi-master. More than one master can try to take control of the bus by initiating the data transfer. Arbitration. Arbitration is very common and very important process in the ISCSI bus. A procedure that ensures if more than one master tries to take control of the bus, then only one will be allowed to take control and no data corruption occurs during this process. Synchronization procedure to ensure the synchronization of the clock signal between the two devices, improve the tolerance of the system to mismatch the clock frequency. Two are the subtopics of I2C communication which I have learned about in my next lectures, next few lectures. So if I have to communicate from one controller to other controller, so I have different cases. Here I have mentioned two cases. One case is the suppose microcontroller A wants to send data to microcontroller B. A have to send data to controller B. So A initiates the data transfer and addresses microcontroller B. As a result, microcontroller A become the master and microcontroller B become the slave. A microcontroller A transmit the data, so master transmitter to microcontroller B slave receiver. Microcontroller A stop the data. This is the very simple case. We, and case is also known as write operation. Second case is the microcontroller A wants to read data from microcontroller B. So microcontroller A initiates the data transfer and addresses microcontroller B. As a result, microcontroller A become the master and microcontroller B become the slave. Microcontroller A receive the data, so A is the master receiver, while microcontroller A transmit the data, uh, so microcontroller B is the slave transmitter, and microcontroller A stop the data transfer. This is very important operation, and this operation may also known as read operation. So next, next is the hardware characteristics of clock and data line. You know that clock and data line are both are bidirectional, and they have open drain and open collector configuration. Open drain means if you have if your controller use MOSFET, then these are open drain, and if your controller use transistor and BJT, then these are open collectors. Open drain and open collectors of both line has to pull up by to throw an external resistor. We have to here you see they we have to pull up these two lines with an external resistor, and these are resistor pull up resistor, and you may be apply any voltage at these points. When the bus is free, there may no communication occurring. Both the clock and data line are high. The open drain open collector configuration allow the I2C to have wide end configuration. This wide end mean that the lines clock and data line will remain on as long as any of the device connecting to the line has pulled the line low. This means these two lines are low. If any device can load the line, these line will become high if only if all the devices revealed release the line. This means turn off their output transistor. If all the devices will hide the line, then these lines are high. Means that all devices were master or slave have equal right over the communication interface. If a single device pulls the line low, then it will become low unless all the devices release it. These are the some other characteristics which mean in these bus 100 kilobits per second is the standard mode, 400 kilobits per second is the fast mode, and 3.4 and megabits per second is the high speed mode. And different communication logic level devices. If you have use CMOS or TTL type devices, you connect these to two wires. This is the this is the open drain configuration diagram of the I2C bus. This is the device A and this is the device 2, and these two are wires which is the SD and SCL. These are the pull up resistor and this is the VDD you have applied on voltage on it. I2C different events occurring in the I2C communication. These are the idle condition, start condition, stop condition, repeated start condition, acknowledge and non acknowledge. If you have a programming these devices or you have to interface the sensor which is the I2C type, you have known about these events and you use these events in your programming. So ideal condition, when there is no communication on the bus, both the both the data and clock lines are high. If both lines are high, then the condition false is the ideal condition. A master can only start communication if the bus is ideal condition. Once communication is started, the bus is said to be busy. The bus become idle when the data transfer is complete and the master generates a stop condition. Between a start and stop condition, the bus is said to be busy. Start condition. A high to low transition of the data line. When the clock line is high is a start condition. If the high to low transition of the data line, this is when the clock line is high, this is the start condition. And start condition is denoted by S. A start condition can only be generated by a master. A start condition can only be generated if the bus is idle. Stop condition. A low to high transition of the data line while the clock line is high is a stop condition. And stop condition is denoted by P. Stop condition can only be generated by a master. A stop condition terminates the communication and the bus become idle. Between a start and stop condition, the bus is said to be busy. A low to high transition of the data line when clock line is high is the stop condition. Next is the repeated start condition. A condition that is generated somewhere between a start and stop condition is a repeated start condition, and repeated start condition is denoted by SR. Technically, it is exactly similar to the start condition. A high to low transition of the data line while the clock line is high is a repeated start condition. If you have generate a start condition and you again generate a start condition, then this condition is known as repeated start condition, and this condition is denoted by SR. Acknowledge and not acknowledge. On the 9 clock pulse of every frame, if the data line is held low, then an acknowledge condition is generated. In the I2C, you have transferred a frame which is the 8 byte, and on the 9 byte bit, the slave have response as a acknowledge or not acknowledge type of signal. If the on the 9 clock pulse of every frame, if the data line is held low, if the data line is high to low, then this is the acknowledge condition, and this is denoted by ACK. on the 9 clock pulse of every frame. If the data line is held high, then the non acknowledge condition is generated. This is denoted by NACK, not acknowledge. When we have sending a frame, the slave have respond as an acknowledge and not acknowledge. So from this response, we know about that our data have fully sent to a slave or not. In my next lecture, I will talk about the different communication protocol pattern, and different programming techniques on these I2C bus. So thanks for listening my this lecture.